Lesson 39. Landmark Supreme Court cases with respect to the criminal justice system. Let's pick up with the question, do students have any Fourth Amendment protections? The case we need to study is a 1985 case, New Jersey versus TLO. A 14-year-old freshman, TLO, we know her only by her initials because she was a juvenile. Her name is confidential. She was caught smoking in the bathroom. She's taken to the assistant principal's office, whereupon the assistant principal searched her purse, and upon searching the purse, found cigarettes and rolling papers at the top of her purse. However, the assistant principal did not stop after finding the cigarettes. The assistant principal continued to search. As the assistant principal searched further, he found marijuana, a pipe, plastic bags, a large amount of money, and an index card listing students who owed TLO money. The assistant principal turned the evidence over to the police with the assumption that TLO was dealing drugs at the school. TLO's lawyers appealed on the basis of a Fourth Amendment violation. The search of the purse was illegal. That was their argument. A search warrant was needed. Was it? What do you think? The case eventually makes its way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled against TLO and that the search was reasonable. From the majority opinion, the warrant requirement is unsuited to the school environment as long as there are reasonable grounds. The upshot of this ruling, New Jersey versus TLO, the Supreme Court replaced the probable cause requirement in schools with a reasonableness requirement. Again, this is a landmark Supreme Court case, as you can see by the book cover. Books have been written about this particular case. What does that mean, reasonableness? As long as school officials have reasonable grounds, they can search students' persons, papers, and effects. So what is the difference between probable cause, as stated in the Fourth Amendment, and this new reasonableness requirement? I like to use this analogy. Probable cause forces law enforcement officials, the police, for example, to high jump over 6 feet before they can conduct a search, whereas the reasonableness requirement forces school officials to high jump over 5 feet before they conduct a search. In other words, school officials have a lower threshold to meet, a lower standard that they have to meet in order to conduct a search, whereas probable cause is a higher standard for law enforcement off the school campus. Oh, by the way, this Supreme Court case is another example of the Supreme Court narrowing student rights in the 1980s. This was a more conservative court, the Rehnquist Court, in contrast to the Warren Court of the 1960s, which was a liberal court. A conservative court will use strict construction to interpret the Constitution and will say you only have certain rights that are actually written into the Constitution, whereas a loose interpretation of the Constitution, a loose construction, expands the powers of not only government but also of individuals having more rights than what are actually written. So it's important to understand the different judicial philosophies in terms